Hello, people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are across the world. Once again, here is the perspective discussing matters on politics and economics. Deep, like crazy. Here is where we think crazy using intellect. We analyze our economic status as a country, our political status as a country, and we try to marry the two and see how strong can we be with better economics and with better, politics. So today I want to choose a very peculiar topic to discuss, unknown to many, and really, diversify my thinking, go deep in my crazy thinking, and see if really we can marry our ideas and, change our perspectives towards how we should manage our economy. And today I have chosen taxation as my area of concern because I feel like Karl Marx messed big time in his theory of taxation. Because why would we tax government employees? That is my major topic today. Remember, I said that we have to see how politics and economics marry each other and how in tandem they can work for a stronger society, for a stronger economy, for a stronger political base, for a stronger country, and for a very fantastic welfare state, not a warfare state. So the issue is, government pays employees and taxes them. So when you pay an employee and tax them as government, what are you doing? I like to give an example of an employee who earns 100,000 for government, and then they are taxed 20,000. They are paid 80,000. So the government takes back 20,000 as tax. How or what can the government do with this money? In the following month, the same employee will be paid 80,000 after 20,000 tax has been deducted from their salary of 100,000. So what this means is that we are just forming a vicious cycle of the economy. Today I am speaking as an extinguished economist. Fidel, the economist, Why? Why would I pay an employee as government 50,000, tax them 10,000, pay them 40, and I do that in the, continuously. That for me does not build the economy, because the idea is I should be able to build roads, pay employees, do development generally, and be part of the international community. That is important. But then what must we do so that we grow? And you've all seen that governments across the world have problems with wage bill. Because wage bill is the money that is gotten from the exchequer to pay government employees, or rather, the civil servants. Fantastic. So Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, the Americas, the Europes of this world, But anyway, in Africa, the struggle is bigger than the industrialized countries. So the question is, how are we supposed to navigate through this? For me, and my school of thought is that we are not supposed to tax government employees. We should not. And even if we do so, then it should be done because it is a responsibility that all patriots or citizens who are working should pay tax. But for me, the focus should be in the private sector. Any serious government entity, any serious leadership will focus on the private sector, because that is where jobs are created, that is where money is made, that is where capital and wealth is created. The easiest way to get rich is to go to the private sector. The easiest way again to get rich is to go to government and become a thief through corruption. So which way is better? because many leaders across the world have not been able to fight corruption, getting to government and getting richer through corruption is the easiest route. But no, that cannot guarantee our country prosperity. What guarantees prosperity is we being able to enhance, create jobs, create conditions, create workflows in the private sector. Take a case. We are talking about the biggest percentage from statistics shows that 7% of the world's richest people are entrepreneurs. 15% are investors. 3% are artists. What does that mean? What does that mean? The highest chunk of taxes is paid by entrepreneurs and the investors. And where do we find the entrepreneurs and the investors? We find them in the private sector. Absolutely. So we cannot focus on government and paying people exorbitant salaries. We just, skyrocket salaries and we paying people so handsomely for doing nothing. Really. To grow the economy, we must make working for government to be very unattractive, first of all. And make working for the private sector to be the most attractive thing, very enterprising, very promising. If you want to earn $1 billion, you should not earn $1 billion in government because that is money that people have been taxed. So you just steal $1 billion, and that really, gives a shock to the economy. But for you to create $1 billion in the private sector, that means you have invested in capital investment, you have invested in infrastructure, you have invested in both short-term and long-term assets. That means that if you can get $1 billion from a business, your turnover ratio is so high. So that also means that if you're earning $1 billion, you must have created other jobs for other people, because then you cannot work in singularity and earn $1 billion shillings. It's not possible, really. So you must have a team you're working with. And that is how we create jobs. That is how we create an environment of doing business. That is how we encourage investors. And that is how we grow the economy. With proper taxation regime for the private sector, so that we allow the FDIs, the foreign domestic investments, to come to our country and invest. We allow our domestic investors to do business within the country very comfortably. In essence, we are supposed to create a very conducive and favorable environment for businesses to thrive. You understand? That is the easiest way to make Kenya our first-class country. We can only be first of all through proper and very enterprising and lucrative investments. Now, if we make the private sector so productive, what happens is that we'll have job creations. People will get jobs, and people will be paid well. And now when people are paid well, they will pay huge amounts of taxes to the government. You understand? Now today, if 10 million people were working in the private sector, formally with good pay, how about that? We only talk about 2 million civil servants in Kenya. When we can create an environment for doing business and for investments and for entrepreneurs to thrive, and have 10 million people in the private sector working formally. And what that means is that it will translate into jobs, it will translate into taxes. And that means that the government has more revenue, which is assured every month. You understand? So then we will pay our civil servants not very much, not very little, but an amount that we can manage as an economy. Look at this. If I work in the private sector and I'm paying a tax of 30,000 every month, I am working in the private sector. That is money which is net to government. When government gets 30,000 from me, because the government have no responsibility to pay me any salary, that is their money. Now they can use that money to do whatever thing they do. So in the coming month, I again give the government 30,000 as tax. And another month, 30,000, So essentially in a year, I will have given 30,000 times 12. And that is 360,000. Come on! That is net money to government. 360,000 to government. Just earning 120,000. Yeah? Now, take another employee who earns 120,000 in government. Let us do comparisons here. They pay 30,000 of tax every month. And every month they are paid 120,000. And they are so deducted. Alright? So, by the end of our full year, a government employee has not given anything to government, even though they are paying taxes. Why? Because they are paid more than what they give the government. So that is really an issue that we have to look at and discuss vehemently. So my postulation, therefore, is that we should focus on the private sector. That is where jobs will be created. That is where they will be created. That is where, money is generated. With the proper laws, tax laws, with the proper, policy laws, with the proper, machinations, with the proper plans and organization by government to empower and to enhance the private sector to grow, then we will have a fantastic economy. Countries like the Americans, countries like the Singaporeans, the Asian tigers, the European superpowers, they have just, understood the essence of industrialization, the essence of entrepreneurship, the essence of investments in their nations. And that is really what has created a strong economy. Because what government is supposed to do is simply to provide a welfare state, not a warfare state. So really, that is the thinking. The only way out of this mess of a poor economy, a bad economy, a weak shilling, is simply by, allowing and creating, and this is deliberate, a favorable and a conducive working environment for the private sector. That alone is the key for me to unlocking the potential of any country, to grow. Not we taxing civil servants. What the hell is that? So everything that you're taxing the civil servants, you even pay more, you pay them more than you've taxed them. Really? There's no economic sense at all. There is no economic sense at all. They will talk about that you tax the rich, you pay the poor, you tax the rich, you provide. That is hogwash. That is hogwash from a very economic perspective. We must deliberately grow the private sector because that is where, for me, as an economist, that is where wealth rests. That is where the stability of the economy resides. And that is what we must unlock as a country. Thank you very much. Once again, welcome to this channel, The Perspective, because really we dive deep into matters of economics. So I'll be coming next with a different perspective and let us keep growing because really these are things that we must talk about. Thank you very much. Adios, muchachos.